Welcome to the new season of the Live Your Spa Life show. The Spa and Spa Life stands for Seek Power Always, that divine power within you to do what you're here to do. The theme for this season is Freedom Fighter. Amazing people like you share ways to ensure your freedom physically, financially, spiritually, and in your relationships to create a world-class life. In these times of uncertainty, it's time for you to move past the distractions and start trusting yourself more through your God-given knowingness. No one truly knows better what's best for you than you. In this season, you'll have plenty of examples of people choosing their best life and giving a voice of freedom to those who are also looking to have their best life. Thank you for sharing your precious time with us and being part of the Live Your Spa Life conversation. With us today is Beth Shaw. She is the host of Make America Healthy, a weekly live radio show on voiceamerica.com. You can listen to that every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. The show features guests that focus on mind, body, and spirit connection, as well as weight management, neurobiology, supplementation, biohacking, exercise, mental health, and how to deal with anxiety, depression, and trauma. Beth, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, this is really a good timing because if anything, over the last couple years, there has definitely been an increase in anxiety and depression and people having this sense of fear around their health. Can you talk a little bit about how fear manifests in the body?
Fear has a very interesting way of manifesting in the body. It creates a lot of blockages and holding patterns, and it constricts us and it restricts us all at the same time. So, depending upon, and we all have had past fears in our lives, and oftentimes those traumas will start to hold the body in very strange ways. It can be a lot of tightness in the hips. It can be chronic pain. It can be literally like looking hunched over and protective. So you have almost like a kyphotic body, and it affects your spine as well. Fear manifests in our cells on the deepest recesses of who we are. So, it's important to try to get it out.
Got it. So it seems, lately, first of all, I love the whole, make America healthy, right? Because there's been so much delegation of our health, not just in the recent years, but, in the last, decades, if anything, right? Where people are like looking for a magic pill or they're looking for someone else to support their health. And I think that there are so many different things that a person can do for themselves to empower themselves around their health and what works for them. You talk about meditation as a way to not only release fears, but to help in just overall health in your body.
There are so many benefits of meditation. You can look at meditation like taking the trash out. You have to take the trash out of your house on a regular basis or it piles up. The same thing happens with our minds. And that's why it's really good to start your day with a meditation, or even better, what I like to do is late afternoon, in that transition time between my work day and my evening, I will take at least 20 minutes to meditate to kind of do a reset. It's almost like doing a data dump from your mind. And just really rebalancing yourself. Meditation is very important for mental health.
Got it. Now, I think a lot of people maybe shy away from meditation because they think that they have to give hours a day to it. Is there kind of a magic number, if you will, of at least do 3 to 5 minutes? You need at least 20 minutes. Is there just kind of a general thought process?
For meditation, ideally you would be doing 20 minutes twice a day. But for most of us, even if you can squeeze in 10, 15 minutes, it will make a profound difference. In meditation, that meditation muscle, much like other muscles, needs to be strengthened. So don't be discouraged if your mind is wandering. That's the job of the mind, to wander around as much as possible. Just keep at it, stick with it, focus on your breath. Say a simple phrase or mantra or affirmation if that's helpful for you. I find that that's often a mental focal point. So many people like a mantra-based meditation or you can just focus on the sound of your own deep breathing. But when we use a mantra or a word or a phrase or an affirmation, then we're at least giving the mind a point to focus on, and that becomes very helpful.
Got it. And so what inspired YogaFit?
I've been actually meditating and doing guided imagery since age 6 because I suffered from horrible migraine headaches as a child. And no one in my family was really that invested in what was going on with me. So I taught myself how to do guided meditation and guided imagery, and I cured my migraine headaches. I've been doing yoga poses since childhood, although I didn't know what they were. I've been working out in health clubs since age 15. When I was in college, I was in the gym stretching out, doing I guess it was some type of a yoga pose at the time. And it was like the sky opened up and I saw literally like white letters in the sky saying that I was going to be very successful in the health and fitness industry. And after I moved to Los Angeles from New York City after college, I started a more formal yoga practice. And my first teacher was actually 93. She cured herself of cancer by going to Rishikesh, India, where now YogaFit brings groups of people every year, and adopting a yogic lifestyle, Ayurvedic medicine, meditation, yoga, vegetarian diet. And she cured herself of cancer, came back to the United States and started writing books about it. So she was my first formal yoga teacher. And after taking many different yoga styles and going to a couple of in-residence teacher training, I really saw a need in the marketplace to bring safe, user-friendly, effective yoga to people all over the world. And since 1997, that's what YogaFit Training Systems Worldwide Incorporated has been doing. We're celebrating our 25th anniversary this September of being a school, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, congratulations. I mean,
Thank
the
you.
longevity of an entrepreneurial business, to have that is definitely a rarity and, something obviously that people are receptive to and using. What would you say, what are some of the most misconceptions, if you will, around yoga?
I'm not flexible. I can't do yoga. I'm too tight. I can't do yoga. Those are the most common ones that I hear. And it's interesting because yoga meets you where you are, especially if it's, like YogaFit style. We believe that we should make the pose fit our bodies and not our bodies fit the pose. So like anything else, if you work on your tight spots, at some point they will be a little less tight. I like to look at, people who say they're tight in their body. Well, that's just plenty of opportunity for space. So if we reframe and we really look at the huge benefits of yoga, from stress reduction to lowering blood pressure, to increasing GABA production in your brain, to balancing insulin levels and cortisol levels, and uniting the body and the mind, and reminding you that, yes, you have a body. In today's world, I think that most people have forgotten that they even have a physical body. And that's very, very unfortunate because our body speaks to us all the time, and we need to learn to read the subtle cues, to have a positive internal dialogue, but also to listen to those whispers. Because if we don't listen to the whispers, then they become screams. So I'm very passionate about educating people on connecting with the body first. That's what we do when we teach at YogaFit. We teach from ground up. We teach the poses first and just the more physical parts of the practice. And then in later trainings, we get into more meditation and Ayurveda and all of that. But it's really, I wish the world was doing yoga. The entire world was doing yoga because it connects you not only with yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit, but also connects you with all of humanity and consciousness. And I think that's a very important connection.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love how, you talk, in the beginning here about, the mind, body, and spirit connection, that they aren't just these isolated things, that they all do work together and that they are important. And I think particularly, over the last couple of years, we kind of talked a little bit about the fear aspect of it. It's almost like people fearing their body. And knowing that our body is one of our best resources, it is there to give us that feedback, that it's there to support us and to listen to what's working and what's not working. And we can, make those kind of tweaks that need to have happen so that our body can support us and have this, relationship with it. And so what have you found as far as people who are kind of like villainizing the body, right? Blaming the body for all the things that are happening versus looking at it from a perspective of working with your body?
Well, I'm going to speak to this from two perspectives. One, from a purely scientific standpoint, our brains are something like 200,000 times more powerful than any supercomputer that's been built. Our bodies have this amazing self-healing technology. Our bodies were made to move, they were made to function, they were made to be in good health. So that's that standpoint. Also, for people who like to go to church or are spiritual or religious, this is your body temple. This is it. This is where you're going to be residing until you depart planet Earth, 24/7. So doesn't it make sense to embrace it, accept it, learn to work with it, learn what works for it, take the best care of it possible, because it is truly your vessel. You worship in your body temple every day. And I believe that that temple needs to be worshiped. And I also, we're gifted these bodies that we can do amazing things with and enjoy this lifetime with. So we need to learn how to care for them best as possible. And as someone who is an educator, a health practitioner, involved in the health and fitness and wellness industry, I've written 4 books. I'm learning, and I'm in my 50s. I'm learning still every single day, which is why I love doing the Make America Healthy radio show, because I have learned so much on everything from spirulina and chlorella to advanced devices that will put your brain in a meditative state without you even having to meditate, tech devices. I've learned so much from my friend, Dr. Nick Perricone, about intermittent fasting and hydrogen water. So I'm constantly making tweaks to my health, whether it's wearing some patch that I'm wearing now or taking a new supplement. People shouldn't fear their bodies. They should be excited at the many, many opportunities we have to live in the healthiest body possible, that I also believe to a certain degree can get stronger as we get older. Yeah. So the body either helps you reach your goals or it's going to get in the way of you living your life. Those are your 2 options. You get to choose.
Right. And I love you talking about it's a choice. Like so many times people think of like their health as something that happens to them. And we're either doing the things, if we take responsibility for our health, that are supporting it, that are having it thrive and do better. Or, if we see chronic illness or see certain things that are happening, we have to look at, okay, what are we doing that's not supporting the body, right? That's really looking at how we can do things differently. And one of the things you also talk about too is about taking the teachings off the mat and into your life. Can you give some examples and more thoughts around that?
Well, yoga can be just a physical exercise. It can be a deeper practice for people. And in following, I'm just going to say, we have the essence of YogaFit at YogaFit, and that's breathing, feeling, listening to your body, letting go of judgment, expectation, competition, and being present in the moment. And I believe that if we try to embody those principles in our daily life, it's going to make for a more enjoyable life for you and for everyone around you.
Mm-hmm. No, I totally agree with that. I know that with some of the women leaders that I work with, a lot of times in making like quick decisions or things that can feel really stressful, if you take that moment and have practices, whether it's breathing practices, taking a moment to get clear on what it is that you want to say, you're going to show up in a much more accepting way, a much more, better communication. There's so many different ways with that in doing some of those practices. So I love to see kind of the continuity of that and what that actually looks like.
Yeah, it's interesting because there's a psychological process work called DBT, dialectical behavioral therapy. There's also CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, both of which are based on mindfulness, finding the middle ground, not being too emotional, but not being too rational or intellectual either, and coming from that middle ground place, which it becomes very evident in so many spiritual teachings, in the practice of yoga, equanimity, non-reaction. I'm a type A New Yorker. Thank God for yoga. Actually, I'm triple type A, and I'm very New York, even though I lived in LA for 20 years. And again, it's work in progress, and we should count the wins, the times that we don't react, the times that we press the pause button, especially if that's not the way that you're wired. And let's face it, most entrepreneurs are wired probably very much like myself: ADD, OCD, a little bit of a mood disorder thrown in for good measure, highly reactive, very pitta, very fiery, as we say in Ayurveda. So, we teach what we need to learn. What can I say?
I love that. That's good. So what are you thinking as far as one of the other things you mentioned too is about fear being an excuse about remaining the same. So can you talk a little bit about, maybe there's some hiding behind fear?
Yeah, our egos are very strong and they protect us from a lot. And again, and we all have fears. I spend a lot of time trying to purposely challenge my own. And what I find is that if you tackle the small things you're afraid of, the bigger things become easier. It's just like manifesting. If you can manifest a parking spot, you might be able to manifest winning the lottery, or starting a successful business, or going back to school. I actually just completed my executive education program at Harvard last month. I was there for 3 weeks, and a program that was supposed to be 3 weeks a year for 3 years started in 2018. I finally finished post-pandemic, but I had a lot of fear just about going back there after not being there for 2.5 years and having to live in a dorm and be a student and follow somebody else's schedule and, show up for a team of people. So there's always things, little things, big things we're going to be afraid of. I think it's just such great growth opportunity for us to really examine our fears, to look at them from a different lens, and then try to tackle them. Because one of my favorite sayings is, a life lived in fear is a life half lived. And I really believe that.
Agreed. Yeah, absolutely. And, there's so many opportunities now for people to just question the things that they're hearing. I mean, we hear so much contradictory information these days, and for people to get really clear about, like, is this true for me and for my body, and what works for me, and, what makes sense here, right? I feel like there's been this loss of common sense where there's just a lot of scientific, things that are thrown out there that aren't so scientific, and how powerful our bodies are. And you talk about, the ability for it to heal itself in so many different ways if we just support it. So, what do you think are some of the things that can help people who've maybe kind of been locked into either watching too much TV, right? Buying into a lot of the fear, to make that leap and to go beyond the fear in the interest of helping themselves become more healthy people?
Well, I think that I would love to have a sidebar conversation with you, because I think you and I are very much in alignment about a lot of things. I will say that when the pandemic first hit, the first thing I did was I deleted all the news apps from my phone. And then I stopped watching the news. And I mean, I don't believe anything anybody tells me anymore. I really don't. And I'm fortunate, I guess, now to be old enough that there was still some measure of critical thinking taught when I was young, because I know they're not teaching it anymore. And I'm amazed at how many people just believe what they're told instead of listening to themselves. But I will tell you, as someone who strives for a lot of spiritual freedom, if you will, as well as personal freedom, that the opportunity to remain in a state of optimal health, which also means for me personally, keeping the gluten out of my diet, not consuming excessive amounts of alcohol, not eating processed packaged foods, not eating fast foods, not listening to the junk that's coming in from the media. We have to do like a deep, full body, mind, spirit cleanse at this point. Short of a couple of ayahuasca ceremonies or burning sage in your house 24/7. I don't exactly know what that ceremony is, but I know that ceremony can be practiced in small part daily, just by really taking care of yourself and also accepting the responsibility that you ultimately are in control of your physical health, because 80% of adult disease is self-created, and you can outwit your DNA and your genetics with a healthy lifestyle that also includes meditation and proper nutrition. So, we just need to take care of ourselves, and we also need to take control of our own mental health. Now, I've suffered from depression my entire life. I have been suicidal, as I put in my book, Healing Trauma with Yoga. I've been suicidal a few times in my life. I decided to stop taking antidepressant medications that I had started while I was during the pandemic. I stopped in January. And I've become my own mental health provider. And with a lot of positive self-talk, affirmations, and all the tools that I have at my disposal, yoga, meditation, sound healing, supplements, and all of that, I managed to keep myself in that state of equanimity. It's not easy, but I know firsthand that it is possible. And really, your health is your most valuable asset always. And that includes your mental health, which means, I don't know, throw the TV out the window, turn off the news, don't listen to other people, listen to that inner voice, listen to what makes sense to you. And then look back in history and see that we were always broadcast with fear. I think I was watching a Twilight Zone, and I don't know if it was from the 50s or the 60s, but the whole thing with the bomb shelters and everybody running under their desk at school. Right. There is always some fear we are being bombarded with. And when one fear starts to get weak, another one's going to come along. So you can either take it into your body, mind, and psyche, or you can just put up a good boundary and say, no more. I'm listening to me, and I'm going to connect with spirit and hope for the right messages to come to me from consciousness and also from myself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, with the name of our podcast here, Live Your Spa Life, the spa and spa life, seek power always. So that's about your own divine power within you. Like, there's so many, messages that are coming to us that we get to make those decisions and that choice. And I'm with you. I say, throw those TVs out the window, because really, I mean, when people are watching CNN on loop and it's only talking about that, Chicken Little, the sky is falling, of course your mental, emotional is going to not be optimal, and that people have had really high levels of anxiety and depression and these things here.
Yeah, the thing is, in consuming any type of media, just ask yourself, are these the messages I want to put in my head? I don't watch a lot of scary movies because I don't want to raise my cortisol levels. I don't want to put images into my mind that are going to be disturbing. Why would I put anything in my mind that's going to be disturbing and give me anxiety and depression? So it's much like, choosing between eating a healthy salad and a McDonald's burger with fries. You get a choice. One actually may seem more appealing than the other to a lot of people, but ultimately it becomes our choice. And the more people understand that whatever they're consuming, which includes who you're surrounding yourself with, you get to choose. And if it's not serving your highest good on every level, don't pick it up. Just keep it away, put it down.
Right, right. And it's so great to be able to, make these choices. And I think it's good to have these kind of mental checklists, or if you actually want to write them down about, what type of things are impacting your body, what kind of things are causing you stress, like, are you getting out in nature? Like, there's so many things you can ask and see how you're creating the environments that actually work for you. Which reminds me, one of the things I always love to ask my guests is, we live differently in our bedroom versus our kitchen or our office. What's your favorite room in your home and why?
I would have to say my favorite room is my living room because I have a beautiful view of the Intercoastal Waterway and a terrace, and some of my favorite art is on the walls. You can see some of it behind me. And it just brings me a sense of, makes my eyes happy. And I love anything beautiful. And I'll take a route that's 4 times longer, that's the scenic route, as opposed to getting on the freeway or the highway, if I can possibly do that. So if I can choose, I choose beauty.
Love that. So great. It's just, I always love to get a snapshot of what people create around them, because, the environments that we have make a difference, right? When you say, having beauty in your space, and, how we treat our space and how we treat our body, like, these things are all related to each other. And I think this is part of the conversation. I think that's great for our audience here, is to be able to ask yourself some of these deeper questions, and to not delegate or outsource your health. Like, these are choices that we make every day with every decision, right? That you can just continue to make better decisions each day to really get clear on what makes you a healthy person, what makes you, who are the people you're spending time with, as you talked about. Like, all of these things matter. They all have a ripple effect in some way. And this is part of creating that freedom in your life. It is something that is very much in your control, and it comes with each decision that you make. So I know that our listeners are going to want to stay in contact with you. How can they best do that, Beth?
They can reach me at bethshaw.com. They can find me on Instagram at Beth Shaw Health. They can find me on Facebook. They can find me on LinkedIn. And if you want to know more about YogaFit, you can go to yogafit.com. I just want to tell you one quick story. Yes. I just returned last night from a trip to Las Vegas. And I didn't want to go to Vegas. I had to go to present at a fitness trade show, but Vegas to me represents like everything that's wrong with our society, excess of on every level. But I went, and I decided to make it my own Vegas healthy trip. I spent one night about 6 hours in Chinatown eating really healthy Chinese food, and getting a massage and walking around, going to karaoke place. I didn't have any alcohol on my trip to Vegas. Another day I went to the Korean spa. And again, I left Vegas, like, didn't put a quarter in the slot machine, didn't have a drink. But you get to choose within the environment the best choices that serve you. And even in an unsuspecting place like Las Vegas, you can actually have a very healthy, and I worked out a couple of times too, you can find a very healthy way to exist. So choose wisely, but choose for your highest good always.
Yes, yes. Well, and that is a great example of our theme. And I don't know if there's anything you'd like to expand on that, about ways that you are creating freedom in your life today.
Ways that I create freedom in my life are to continually try to expand my mind and make sure that I'm not thinking too small. Ways that I create freedom is that I will just say the affirmation, I am free. Ways that I create freedom using a lot of positive affirmations every morning. Today is going to be a great day. I'm a magnet for miracles. Trusting my own intuition. I've been to 3 different conferences now in 2 weeks. And, I walked into a very big one that I was at with all small business owners from all over the country. And I said, I'm going to just check in with my intuition and let spirit guide me to the people that I'm supposed to meet. And, it happened again and again and again. So when we can practice these small efforts of intention and manifestation, and then we see them happen, you'll get more confidence and more strength.
Love that. So great. Well, Beth, thank you so much for being here with us today and sharing your wisdom.
Thank you for having me. Please check out my book, Yoga Lean, because there's a whole chapter in there on clearing space and how it relates to weight gain and weight loss. So thank you so much for having me, and let me know when this is released.
Perfect. You got it.
Namaste.
And thank you. Namaste. And for our listeners out there, take a moment, take a deep breath, really take inventory of your mind, body, spirit, emotion, all the different aspects of you, and see what kind of little tweaks that you need to make today to be more in alignment with the type of life that you want to live, and to not be so sidetracked by all the external things. Pay more attention to what's happening internally. Until we connect again, live your spa life. Bye for now. Bye-bye.